Okay, lung function. Is the gas exchange proper or not? Is the mechanics are properly functioning or not? Okay. It evaluates one or major aspects of the respiratory system: lung volumes, airway function, gas exchange. Indications of pulmonary function test. So it identifies the disease. I mean, it identifies the disease means, is there any the pathology? It identifies the pathology. Is there any obstructive pathology? Is there any restrictive pathology? Or both obstruction and restriction? Evaluate extent and monitor course of the disease also. Evaluate the treatment. So if you pulmonary function test, pulmonary function, even if it monitors the course of the disease. How it monitors the course of disease? So we have given medicines. We have given medicines for the obstructive pathology. We have given medicines. So after 3 months, after 6 months, if you repeat the pulmonary function test, if you show the improvement, it will show the improvement. If there is good response to the medication, so it will also monitor the course of the disease. So it will evaluate treatment, measure effects of exposures, assess risk for surgical procedures. So it will give fitness for the surgical procedures. Is the patient is fit enough to go for the surgery? Or if at all any risk is there, moderate risk is there, severe risk is there, low risk is there. So it can be the risk can be assessed by the pulmonary function test when the patients are planned for any surgical procedures. Spirometry is the cornerstone for of any pulmonary function test. So there are many pulmonary function tests. Based out of all the pulmonary function tests, spirometry is the cornerstone. Spirometry it identifies the dynamic lung volumes. Dynamic lung volumes means FEV1, forced expiratory volume during the first second, forced vital capacity. Okay, peak expiratory flow rate. These are all dynamic lung volumes. Peak expiratory flow. Okay. Static or absolute lung volume. Static lung volumes are expiratory reserve volume, residual volume. So these are static lung volumes. So diffusion capacity of lungs, bronchial challenge testing, arterial blood gas analysis. So from arterial blood gas analysis, it shows how is the oxygen, how is the carbon dioxide status, and basing on the alveolar arterial O2 gradient, we can estimate the gas exchange function, maximal respiratory pressure, maximal inspiratory pressure, maximal expiratory pressure, tests of exercise capacity. There are also some tests of exercise capacity that shows how is the cardiopulmonary reserve, preoperative pulmonary function testing. So all this can be done. Spirometry, measurement of pattern of the air movement into and out of the lungs during controlled ventilatory maneuvers. It is often done as a maximal expiratory maneuver. So this is a spirometry is a expiratory maneuver. Importance: patients and physicians have inaccurate perceptions of severity of airflow obstruction and or severity of lung disease by physical examinations. So we have to confirm, after doing physical examination, we have to confirm how is the severity. Is the patient is really that much severe? So that can be done, assessed only by the pulmonary function test. Pulmonary function test provides objective evidence in identifying the patterns of the disease. That is the obstructive pattern, restrictive pattern, mixed pattern, or upper airway obstruction is there. If upper airway obstruction is there, is it intrathoracic upper airway obstruction or extrathoracic obstruction? Okay. All this can be identified. Lung factors affecting spirometry are mechanical properties, resistive elements. Mechanical properties, compliance. Compliance is a change in volume to the change in pressure. It describes stiffness of the lungs. How stiff the lungs are, compliance. For example, ARDS patients, pulmonary edema patients with pulmonary edema, their lungs are very stiff. Elastic recoil, the tendency of the lung to return to its resting state. A lung that is fully stretched has more elastic recoil. A lung that is fully stretched has more elastic recoil and thus larger maximum flows. Okay. Resistive properties determined by airway caliber affected by lung volume, bronchial smooth muscles, airway collapsibility. factors that affect lung volumes. Age. So age, the higher the age, the elder people are more, they have significant diminished lung volumes as compared to younger age group people. Similarly, sex, the gender also. So as compared to females, males in males, it is found that lung volumes are a little bit higher. Height, weight, race, white people and black people, and the disease, the pathology, any pathological disease in the lungs. So all these factors affects lung volumes. So spirometry, how will you do the technique? Have patients seated comfortably. It is a closed circuit technique. Place nose clip on. Have the patient breathe on mouthpiece. Have patient to take a deep breath. So patient is supposed to take a deep breath as fast as possible from a position of maximal inspiration. Okay, from a position of maximal inspiration. So the patient is supposed to take a deep breath inside. The patient is supposed to take a deep breath inside as fast as possible. Afterwards, he is supposed to blow out as hard as possible until we tell them to stop. So you see, the person is supposed to take a deep breath as hard as possible. Afterwards, he is supposed to blow out the air as fast as possible till we tell him to stop. Spirometry measures the amount and rate of air in a person breathes in order to diagnose the illness or determine progress in treatment. So forced vital capacity. So spirometry detects dynamic lung volumes like forced lung volumes and capacities like forced vital capacity, forced expiratory volume. So in this diagram, see x-axis is the time, y-axis it is the volume is there. So when you see the graph, you see the curve, okay. The curve is showing forced expiratory volume and forced vital capacity. Forced expiratory volume is the total volume of the air that can be exhaled forcefully from position of total lung capacity. So total volume of air that can be exhaled forcefully from position of total lung capacity is the forced vital capacity. Majority of the forced vital capacity can be exhaled in less than 3 seconds in normal people. So, but this forced vital capacity is much more prolonged in obstructive diseases. For example, in a patient of emphysema who is having persistently breathing, the forced expiratory time is generally it is prolonged. It requires more than 3 seconds. It is measured in liters. Forced expiratory volume during the first second. Volume of the air forcefully expelled from full inflation. From the position of maximal total lung capacity in the first second. Total lung capacity is the sum of vital capacity plus residual volume. So this is also measured in liters. Normal person can exhale more than 75 to 80% of their forced vital capacity in the first second. Thus, FEV1 by FVC can be utilized to characterize the lung disease. So this FEV1 by FVC ratio, this can be utilized to characterize the lung disease. Is there any obstruction or is there any restriction or is there any like this? Any the pathological abnormality pattern can be estimated from this FEV1 by FVC ratio. How will you interpret FEV1? Forced expiratory volume, we have to interpret percentage predicted. Normally greater than 80% predicted. 60 to 80% mild obstruction. 40 to 59% moderate obstruction. Less than 40% severe obstruction. So this spirometry test, there is some acceptability criteria. So the test should be started. There should be a good start of the test. There should be no coughing. So while the process, so you should not do in a patient who is in exacerbation. This spirometry test you should not do in a patient who is in exacerbation. Okay, because he can't do. And so there should be the start of the procedure. There should be good start of the test. The starting of the procedure should begin with a good start. The patient should not cough during the procedure. No variable flow. No early termination. So early termination also should not be there. Good reproducibility should be there. So we have to be able to reproduce at least 3 times. So this diagram, it is a flow volume loop. So flow volume loop means it shows expiratory portion and inspiratory portion. So above the x-axis it is the expiratory portion, below the x-axis it is the inspiratory portion. Okay. It illustrates maximum expiratory and inspiratory flow volume curves. It is useful to help characterize disease states like is there any obstruction or restriction. For example, if there is obstruction, if you see the expiratory portion, there will be depression in the expiratory portion if there is obstruction. Similarly, this volume of, if there is restriction, if there is restrictive abnormality, similarly this expiratory portion above the x-axis that is present and below the x-axis which is the inspiratory portion, both these sizes will be decreased if there is restrictive abnormality. So you see all these diagrams. So first one, so there is normal, so acceptable efforts are there. In second diagram, you see there is a submaximal effect. Submaximal effect. It means the effect from the patient is not good enough. So that is why there are some irregular waves in the curve. Okay. So we see the third diagram. So the patient did not begin with a good start. That's why it is not from, it is, the curve is not obtained from the maximal total lung capacity. And if you see the next diagram, so the patient has coughed during the procedure. That's why there is a depression in the expiratory portion. Again, next diagram. So the start of the procedure is not rapid. So initially the procedure should start as a rapidly. So the person is able to blow out the air as fast as possible. So if there is, otherwise the start of the procedure would not be rapid. So again, if the patient stops prematurely, the patient also is not supposed to stop prematurely the procedure. So if the patient is stops prematurely, there will be glottis closure and we will not obtain good curves. And again, if you see the next diagram, the below the x-axis it is showing. So there is submaximal inspiration. Submaximal inspiration means the inspiratory curve is not up to the mark. So again, there is tongue, in the next diagram it is showing tongue occlusion, last tongue occlusion is there. So there is tongue occlusion, again we are not able to get good curve in expiratory portion. Spirometry in obstructive diseases, there will be slow rise in upstroke. The upstroke will be slow rise and it may not reach plateau. So but there will be slow rise in upstroke, the plateau will not be attained in obstructive diseases. This diagram is showing it is a graph plotted between the volume and time. So I told you, in obstructive diseases, if you see the expiratory curve, that is the curve present above the x-axis, there is coving of the curve. There is coving of the expiratory curve. That is it is also called as dog leg shaped. Okay. So this implies there is obstruction. It is characterized by limitation of expiratory airflow. Examples in the COPD, asthma patients. So there will be FE1 is decreased. Forced expiratory volume is decreased. The ratio of FE1 by FEC ratio is also decreased. It is decreased to less than 0.8 or 0.7. It is decreased to less than 70. Okay, generally. And the total lung capacity, in case of obstructive lung disease, the total lung capacity may be normal or increased. But the total lung capacity is decreased in restrictive diseases. So if you see this curve again in restrictive diseases, the upstroke is rapid. Rapid upstroke has a normal spirometry. But the plateau volume, if you see the plateau volume, and it has attained plateau stage also, but the plateau volume is low because the lung volume is low. So that's why this is because of the restrictive pattern. So restrictive lung diseases, you see this flow volume loop. So there is, because of the diminished lung volumes, the size of the flow volume loop is small. It is characterized by diminished lung volume due to change in alteration in lung parenchyma. Example, interstitial lung disease. Disease of pleura, chest wall, like scoliosis or any neuromuscular diseases patients like muscular dystrophy. So in this restrictive lung diseases, the total lung capacity is decreased because residual volume is decreased. And also vital capacity is also decreased. The forced vital capacity is also decreased. And FE1 by FEC ratio may be normal or increased in restrictive lung diseases. But this FE1 by FEC ratio is decreased in case of obstructive lung diseases. So you see this diagram again. So you see the flow volume loops. If you see the flow volume loops, first one is there is obstruction is there is coving of the expiratory curve. And second diagram, if you see, the flow volume loop size is diminished because of reduced lung volume. This is restrictive lung diseases. So you can see, sometimes you can see both obstruction and restriction. So in third diagram of flow volume loop, you see there is coving of the expiratory portion as well as the lung volumes are also decreased. So both obstruction and restriction is there. So generally, how will you interpret this spirometry pulmonary function test? So FEV1 by FVC, normally it will be 70% or more than 70%. FVC percent predicted will be 80% or more than 80%. In obstructive disease, FEV1 by FVC ratio decreased to less than 70%, and FVC generally it will be more than 80% or more than 80%. In some cases, in obstructive lung disease also, there may be very slightly diminished FVC also, but only slightly diminished. Say for example, like it may decrease to about 70% or 75%, but not more than that. In restrictive lung pattern, FEV1 by FVC is also normal, 70% or more than 70%. But FVC percent predicted is decreased. It is decreased to less than 80%. So if the FEV1 by FVC ratio is less than 70% and FVC is less than 80% predicted, so obstruction is present, cannot rule out restriction means. So if FVC percent predicted is decreased less than 80%, we have to confirm this from again total lung capacity. Then only you can say there is restriction confirmatively. Large airway obstruction. It is characterized by truncated inspiratory or expiratory loop. So this flow volume loop you see. So that flow in this large airway obstruction, the inspiratory portion or the expiratory portion of the loop will be truncated. So it is depressed. You see this, that it is depressed. Expiratory portion is depressed, or maybe inspiratory portion may be depressed. If there is large airway obstruction. Peak expiratory flow. So this peak expiratory flow, this is also commonly bedside used pulmonary function test. It is dependent on patient effort. This is also dependent on patient effort. It indications assessment of acute asthma, monitoring of chronic asthma, and even helps in the diagnosis of asthma also. Lung volumes measured through various methods. These lung volumes, especially the static lung volumes like expiratory reserve volume, residual volume, and from residual volume you are able to calculate forced residual capacity. This can be done with the help of some more pulmonary function tests like dilution method, helium dilution method with 100% or 19% oxygen, body plethysmography, hydrogen washout method. All these methods are there to estimate static lung volumes. So generally lung volumes, if you see, there are 4 lung volumes. Inspiratory reserve volume, tidal volume, expiratory reserve volume, residual volume. So what is the inspiratory reserve volume? It is the amount of the volume present in the lungs from a position of maximal inspiration. Similarly, expiratory reserve volume, amount of the volume of the air that is expired from a position of normal tidal expiration. That is expiratory reserve volume. Tidal volume is amount of the air inhaled or exhaled during normal quiet breathing. That is tidal volume. It is about like 6 to 8 ml per kg body weight of the person. Generally, it is around like 500 ml. Residual volume, amount of the air that is residual, that is present remaining in the lungs after maximal expiration. That is residual volume. So capacities. This capacities means sum of 2 or more lung volumes gives capacities. For example, if you see vital capacity. So vital capacity is the expiratory reserve volume, tidal volume plus inspiratory reserve volume is the vital capacity. So similarly, we see total lung capacity. Total lung capacity is the sum of vital capacity plus residual volume. So tidal volume, inspiratory reserve volume, expiratory reserve volume, residual volume are the volumes of the lung. The capacities are vital capacity, inspiratory capacity, functional residual capacity, total lung capacity. So if there are changes in the lung volumes in various disease states, you see first diagram normal. So normal total lung capacity, normally total lung capacity it will be like 6 to 8 liters. Okay. So functional residual volume and functional residual capacity is in a normal person. Whereas in a restrictive lung disease patient, the residual volume is decreased. The residual volume is decreased. Thereby, total lung capacity is also decreased in restrictive lung diseases. Restricted lung disease examples: ARDS patient, pulmonary fibrosis patient. Okay. Air trapping. Air trapping is in general in bronchial asthma patients and bronchitis patients. Of course, bronchitis patients with air trapping ultimately lead to dynamic hyperinflation because they develop emphysema. Okay. So in air trapping, so you see residual volume is increased. Residual volume is increased, but the total lung capacity, there is no significant increase in total lung capacity because there is no significant increase in vital capacity. That's why there is no significant increase in total lung capacity. And if you see in the diagram of hyperinflation, that is in emphysema patients, the residual volume is increased, also the total lung capacity is increased because the vital capacity is also increased. That's vital capacity is increased and residual volume increased. That's why the total lung capacity increased in hyperinflation. Example, emphysema patient. Other pulmonary function test: diffusion capacity for carbon monoxide, DLCO. Patient inhales from spirometer a gas mixture containing a small amount of carbon monoxide and holds it for 10 seconds. Patient exhales and sample of end-tidal alveolar gas is collected and carbon monoxide concentration is measured. Diffusion capacity is directly related to the amount of carbon monoxide that disappears. Conditions that reduce diffusing capacity: so thickened alveolar capillary membrane, pulmonary fibrosis scarring, decreased alveolar capillary surface. If there is decreased alveolar capillary surface area in emphysema patient, pulmonary vascular disease, so the diffusion lung capacity for carbon monoxide test will be decreased. In anemia, hemorrhagic conditions also, there will be decreased uptake by RBCs. Because of decreased uptake by RBCs in anemia, hemorrhage conditions, DLCO again decreased. Normally DLCO, the value is 80% predicted or more. Less than 80% predicted, it is decreased. Bronchial challenge testing. Asthma is characterized by variable airflow obstruction. Bronchial challenge test is used to diagnose asthma. Okay. This histamine and methacholine in this bronchial challenge test, generally the used agents are histamine or methacholine. So in this, whether the patients are seen whether they are sensitive to this histamine or methacholine. If they are sensitive, then they may have this bronchial asthma problem. So histamine and methacholine are commonly used agents in this bronchial challenge testing, used for the diagnosis of asthma. Bronchial challenge testing usually administered in increase in concentrations at intervals of 1 to 3 minutes, followed by measurement of FE1. So after intervals of 1 to 3 minutes, we have to measure forced expiratory volume during the first second. Then you are performing this bronchial challenge testing. The results are quoted as a dose that is required to produce a 20% fall in FE1. Results are quoted as a dose that is required to produce 20% fall in FE1. So the dose that is required to produce, there should be 20% fall in FE1, that is PC20. Okay. Then only test is positive. A PC20 of less than 8 mg per ml is regarded as a positive test. Respiratory muscle function can be tested by measuring the pressure generated by inspiring and expiring against a closed airway. Normal values. Maximal inspiratory pressure is 60 cm H2O. Okay. Maximal expiratory pressure is 80 cm H2O. Okay. Respiratory muscle function. Low pressures indicate neuromuscular diseases. So lower inspiratory the maximal inspiratory pressure or the maximal expiratory pressure is decreased, it indicates there may be some neuromuscular disease affecting the muscles of respiration. Maximal inspiratory pressures may be reduced by hyperinflation or gas trapping. Okay. Maximal inspiratory pressures may be reduced by hyperinflation or gas trapping. That is in patients of like obstructive disease patients, obstructive lung disease patients. Maximal inspiratory pressures or maximal expiratory pressures are useful in assessment of the respiratory failure also. And maximal expiratory pressures, they assess neuromuscular dysfunction. Cardiopulmonary exercise test. These tests are most widely used is 6-minute walk test. The subject walks as far as they can at their own pace for 6 minutes on a set course. So, after a period of 6 minutes, the patient is asked to walk as far as possible for a period of 6 minutes. After a period of the completion of 6 minutes, heart rate and oxygen saturations are measured at the baseline and at regular intervals. So this heart rate and oxygen saturations are compared from the beginning of the test, in between the test, and at the end of the test at regular intervals. A fall in oxygen saturation of more than 5% is a strong indicator of the respiratory problem. An excessive heart rate with no fall in oxygen saturation suggests the patient is either very unfit or has a cardiac problem. You see this chart. So 71-year-old male patient, FeV1 by FVC ratio is 77. That is more than 70% normal. After seeing FeV1 by FVC ratio, what you have to see? You have to see forced expiratory volume. FeV1 percentage predicted you have to see. FeV1 percentage predicted, how much? 99 is there. Normal. Afterwards, FVC you have to see. FVC is forced vital capacity. Forced vital capacity percentage predicted you have to see. Percentage predicted how much FVC? 97%. It should be greater than 80%. Normal. Okay. Total lung capacity 8 liters. Okay. Accepted. Normal. DLCO, diffusion lung capacity of carbon monoxide. You see the percentage predicted 99. So normal value is more than 80. Again normal. So this is a normal spiral. This is a normal study. So and you see this flow chart again. You see this diagram. The flow chart. So 41-year-old male patient, FeV1 by FVC ratio is 84. Normal. FeV1 by FVC ratio is more than 70%. It is normal. So afterwards, what you will see? FVC you have to see. There is a forced vital capacity. Forced vital capacity percentage predicted. Percentage predicted is 60%. It is less than 80%. So diminished. Forced vital capacity is decreased. Afterwards, you see forced expiratory volume. Forced expiratory volume is also decreased. It is decreased to percentage, but it is 61. But it is proportionately decreased to forced vital capacity. So that means what? There is no obstruction. Only maybe restriction can be there. Afterwards, you see the total lung capacity. Total lung capacity, how much liters? 4.36 liters. It is decreased. So definitely, there will be some restriction in the lungs. There can be restriction in the lungs. Again, you see DLCO. DLCO percentage rated how much? 35%. It is decreased again. So this is the restrictive ventilatory defect with reduced DLCO. You see this one more flow chart. 75-year-old male patient presented with this flow chart. FeV1 by FVC ratio 46%. 46. Decreased. Decreased means there should be some obstruction. So after you see FVC, forced vital capacity, 48% predicted. Decreased. FVC is also decreased. You see forced expiratory volume during the first second. Percent predicted 29. 29 is a severe. It means severe obstruction is there. You see the total lung capacity 4.50. So 4.50 it is also slightly diminished. Lung volume is there or slightly diminished. Okay. And you see DLCO 52% predicted. DLCO is also decreased. This is a predominantly obstructive ventilator pattern. With the decreased DLCO. The TLC is slightly diminished, so that's why we can accept this. So this is obstructive ventilator defect with hyperinflation of the TLC. Okay, hyperinflation of the TLC means TLC is not that much significantly decreased, and the DLC was decreased. Okay. So you may ask in this patient why the FVC is decreased, but there should be restriction. Why there is no restriction? So simply with the help of FVC, you should not say restriction. You have to confirm from the total lung capacity. So one more patient, 79-year-old female patient. So FeV1 by FVC is 80. So it is a normal ratio. Forced vital capacity 51% predicted. So FVC is decreased. FeV1 56. So this is FE1 precipitate is proportionately decreased as compared with FEC. So there is no obstruction. On 4.36, 4.36 is diminished. The total lung capacity is decreased. So forced vital capacity percentage is decreased to 51, and total lung capacity is a 4.36. It is also decreased. And DLCO is also decreased. It is decreased to 62. So this is a restrictive pattern with reduced DLCO. One more flow chart. So 17-year-old male patient with FE1 by FEC 51 ratio. So diminished FE1 by FEC. You see again FEC 56%. So there is obstruction. FE1 by FEC ratio decreased means obstruction is present. Then you see FEC again 56%. FEC is also decreased. And you see FE1 doing force expected volume to the first second, that is 38% predicted. So that is also decreased. And it is not proportionately decreased with FEC. Of course, so definitely obstruction is present. And this is about moderate obstruction. Moderate obstruction is present, and you see the total lung capacity. Total lung capacity is 8.97. So total lung capacity is 8.97. It is not decreased. Total lung capacity is not decreased. Ideally speaking, it is somewhat little bit increased. Total lung capacity is increased, slightly increased. And you see DLCO. DLCO 44% predicted. DLCO is also decreased. So this is like obstructive ventilator defect with reduced DLCO. Okay. FEC is decreased, but there is no restriction because total lung capacity is not decreased. So there is only obstruction in here. Obstruction with decreased DLCO. So obstruction with a decreased DLCO, example can be emphysema patient. Thank you. These are some examples to how to differentiate obstruction, restriction, and mixed abnormality. So any doubts, please, you are welcome. Are you able to hear me? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Any doubts?
We are able to hear you.
Yes. Any doubts, please? So I think time is there. You can ask if you have any doubts, please. We have 5 more minutes. You can ask any doubts. Are you able to hear me? Hello, are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Do you got some idea how will you assess obstruction? How will you assess restriction, mixed? So you got some idea or not? How will you assess obstruction, restriction, or both obstruction and restriction, mixed abnormality, upper airway obstruction?
Yes, sir.
And you got some idea regarding the pulmonary function, various pulmonary function tests like spirometry, diffusion lung capacity for carbon monoxide, peak expiratory flow. Okay. And what about the pulmonary function test? So can you mention some pulmonary function tests that are used that are helpful for the assessing of static lung volumes like expiratory reserve volume, residual volume? So those pulmonary function tests that assess static lung volumes like residual volume, expiratory reserve volume, forced residual capacity, or helium dilution method, nitrogen washout method, body plethysmography. These are some tests that assess, that are helpful for the confirmation of the restrictive lung diseases. So for the confirmation of the obstructive lung diseases, we should do Spirometry. Spirometry is the cornerstone for the detection of the, for the confirmation of the obstructive lung diseases. Okay. And DLCO, diffusion lung evacuation carbon monoxide, this is also helps in assessing is there any, if there is any restriction, is there any restriction pattern in the lung pathology or cardiac pathology. Any doubts, please? No doubts?
No, sir.
So then you all got some idea about obstruction, restriction, mixed abnormality, about pulmonary function test. Your time, your next class, there is still 10 more minutes is there. Shall we close the session? Shall we close the session or you want me to wait for 5 more minutes? You are thinking to ask any doubts. Are you thinking to ask any doubts?
No, sir.
So you are not taking session or you want me to wait for 5 minutes?
Yes, sir.
You want me to wait or shall we close the session? Shall we close the session?
Yes, sir, you can close.
Okay. Thank you. Excuse me.